Have you been one of those who've turned up for the vaccination and been told that your vaccination booking is invalid or that you have not booked? Are you one of those who have been trying to book your vaccination and you've not been able to do so? Or are you one of those who are still skeptical and are not booking your vaccinations? Louis here, everybody. If you are watching right now, do like and share and invite others to watch as well. If you're watching later, then kindly also like and share and get people to watch this, because what I'm about to share here in relation to vaccinations for COVID-19 might help you, might help somebody else. As you know, at the moment, the nation is currently in the UK here vaccinating people who are in their 30s. They just completed vaccinating or about to complete vaccinating people who are in their 40s. And some people have had really big issues or problems booking their vaccinations. Here is the system, or here's how it goes. Once you get your letter to go and get or book your vaccination, you are given a link online to follow. And once you enter your details, first they ask for your hospital or your NHS number if you have one. And if you don't, well, you still give your name and your address and you are able to book for your vaccination. Once you select location, it books you or begins to book you in for your first dose. And once your first dose has been booked, it then moves you on to book your second dose. For a lot of people, like my first time, they have not been able to book both of their vaccinations at the same time. So if you book your first vaccination and you are unable to book your second vaccination, you literally can't be able to have that first vaccination. If you turn up, they will tell you that you have not been booked, even though you would have gone through the process and you would have gone to the end and seen that you have completed the booking of your first vaccination. If you can't and haven't booked your second one, you will not be able to get even the first one. So, how do you solve this problem? You make sure that after booking your first vaccination, that you actually proceed to book your second vaccination. In many cases, I've spoken to many people and they have indicated that their second doses are quite far away from home and will require them to either drive there or to take long journeys, even as far as 20 miles to go and have your second dose. Well, what you need to do is to actually book that appointment, and if you have issues of travel and so on later on, then you can address that. You can call, you can reschedule, you can look for vaccination centers that are closer to you after you have booked to see whether they can accommodate you. This is because if you do not book your second vaccination, your first one does not get registered, and hence when you turn up, you will be disappointed. You will not be given that first vaccination. Alternatively, to solve these problems, once you receive your letter advising you or inviting you to book your vaccination, what you can do is to call 119 in order to book your vaccination. Once you go through that system, when you call 119 and they help you through the booking system, you will be certain that you have actually booked, completed, and had your first and second doses booked. And hence, when you turn up, you can actually then have your first and second vaccination. There are several things that might happen. You might book your first vaccination and you don't turn up. you might book your first and second vaccination, and something happens that you do not go for that first vaccination. Well, if you haven't had the first vaccination, you cannot proceed to go for your second. You have got to go and have that first one first before the second. So if you miss your first dose or your first appointment, you need to rebook it, reschedule it. You need to call 119, reschedule your appointment, and find out whether there is any other location where you can actually go and have that first vaccination. Otherwise, again, you will not be able to get that second vaccination, even though you would have booked it successfully and you would have had confirmation. Now, how do you know that you have actually completed the vaccination booking process? You know this because you get sent a booking reference, and when you turn up to have your vaccination done, they will ask for that booking reference. You give them that reference, and then you go in to have your vaccination. And what happens when you go in? They check your ID to make sure that you are who you are, basically your name and your address, and they make sure that you are who you say you are and you are the person who booked that appointment. They confirm it by looking at your booking reference, which you would have to supply, and then you are told to sit down and wait for your time and your turn. When you go in, of course, to then have your vaccination, there are several checks that are done first to make sure that you are healthy enough to receive the vaccination and that you have not had adverse effects from previous vaccinations and so on. A lot more checks are done, and it's really, really diligently done. So for those people who are still on the line wondering why and how they should be going for this vaccination, there are stringent measures taken to make sure that you have this vaccination and that it is safe for you and for everyone. Once you have had your vaccination, they give you a chance to sit and wait for a couple of minutes so that they can monitor you to make sure that there is no reaction. After a while, if there is no problem, they will ask you how you're feeling, and if you confirm that you feel okay and good to go home, they can then let you go home. Have there been situations where people have not been allowed to go home? Minimally. Maybe somebody might have an adverse reaction towards the vaccination, or maybe somebody might develop some symptoms after they have received the vaccination. If that is the case, they will ask you to stay. They will ask you to just hold on, and they see whether they can solve the problem. So generally speaking, it's been okay for people. Those who have received the vaccination, they've done okay. And I haven't seen or heard of anybody whom I know who has received the vaccination and has had problems. But those I know, they have done well, and they have had second doses, and all is fine. What else might happen? You might forget your appointment, which has duly been booked. What do? Again, ring 119, and they will be able to help you out. Now, for those who are still on the fence, wondering why they should be taking this vaccination, well, I understand why you might still be on the fence. You know, when we were told to wear masks, there were various videos that went out there, and people were showing all sorts of things about masks. For example, saying that there's a certain there's a fiber in that mask which the governments have put in there, and when you wear that mask, then that fiber is going to get into your head. They want to tap people and be able to tap your information. Come on, guys. You know, This is the sort of thing that people are saying, right? Bonkers, this is not true. Vaccinations came out also, and people said things like, "Oh, this vaccination is built for a particular group of people in the world, and they are going to maim people. They are going to put chips in your brains or chips in your body. It's a way of governments to control people and so on." Like, if this vaccination was designed for a group of people, maybe that might be true. If this vaccination were designed for a particular age group of people, that might be true. If this vaccination was given to a specific part of the world, that might be true. But listen, gentlemen, this vaccination is being given to everybody in the world. And of course, we know that there are places in the world that are not able to have this vaccination yet. But where vaccinations are given, they are given to everybody. So when it is your turn to have the vaccination, please book the appointment and go and get your vaccination. You protect yourself, you protect your family, you protect others, and you protect the world. Now, I was in hospital over the weekend, as you know, and I got speaking to somebody, a very senior citizen, and she hasn't had her vaccination, and yet she was in A&E unwell, and she was very, very worried that she might have COVID. And so we had the conversation about, have you had your vaccination? And she said, no, she can't have this, there's this thing they're forcing on people that she can't have it because she has lived her life so well, she can't have COVID. And I said, okay, you may not, but you may just have it. You don't know. Nobody designed COVID. Nobody knew we would be in this situation. And if we are trying to solve the problem that nobody created, then we should all participate in trying to solve the problem. And she said, no. If she has COVID, they should just let her go. Nobody should. I said, okay. So you might be one of those people who are still on the sidelines. We have a terrible aggressor here. It is COVID-19, and it has claimed thousands of lives. Ladies and gentlemen, when you hear these figures, they are real. They are real. I have looked after, you can say, hundreds of people who have got COVID. It is real. And people are dying. Unfortunately, I have also observed that people of certain backgrounds are prone to having COVID-19. Taxi drivers, bus drivers, nurses themselves, people working in the front line. And statistically as well, these people are part of the people who are statistically refusing to have the vaccine. Well, if you are one of those, and if you belong to this population group of people who don't want to have the vaccine, I ask you to reconsider this. If you're one of those people who are in the groups of people who are prone to having COVID-19 and you haven't had your vaccine, I would, ask you to consider actually going to have your vaccine. If they have passed your age group and you have not had yours booked, please still book ahead. Still go ahead and book for your vaccine and go ahead and receive your vaccination. Well, one of my friends, he's a 50-year-old gentleman. He called me and said, look, I have reconsidered having my vaccine. I was not going to have it, but now they are in the 40s. So that's it. I can't have it anymore. And I said to him, no, you can have it. Just go online and book your vaccination and go and have it. He has since booked and he actually got a chance to go and have his vaccination. It's still coming next week, but yes, he has had the opportunity to actually book his vaccination. I'm talking to people in the UK, in Europe and USA, in Asia and so on. What about those people in Africa? Well, my fellow brothers and sisters in Africa or some parts of Africa, you may not be having the vaccination, but COVID-19 is real. I know I've had to deal with a lot of people in my own background where I grew up in Cameroon. And a lot of people are adamantly saying that COVID-19 is not real. Well, I belong to a group of medical doctors who are trying to help people to understand that COVID-19 is real in parts of Cameroon, Africa in general. And statistics are showing that people are actually sick. People are actually dying. So if you are in Africa and you're also doubting that COVID-19 is real, please wake up. Do remember that when AIDS was discovered as a disease killing people, it took a lot of countries and people in Africa a year or two to realize that it was real. They only accepted that there was AIDS when people physically died and they were told that they died of AIDS. And people's eyes opened and they began to believe that there was AIDS killing people when so many people had died and so many people had been infected. Let us learn from that mistake. It was a grave error to disbelieve such a clear, evidenced illness which was plaguing the world and to allow people to die from it. So, we learn from it and believe what is being said about COVID-19. My dear people in Africa and some parts of the world where people are still disbelieving that there is COVID-19, I want to say this categorically to you: it is real. And there are videos out there from medics, from doctors, from physicians and well-learned people saying to you that there is, hardly any evidence to say that there is COVID-19. And there are other videos and audios out there saying to people that this is a government-staged campaign. Well, there is no one government in the world. I also want to say to you that last week, I attended a summit held by the World Health Organization. It was a 2-day summit, and I can tell you that the World Health Organization are doing their best to make sure that this pandemic does not kill more people. On their behalf, I can say to you, dear people in Africa, that there is no second agenda about COVID-19. It is a natural disease that has come to plague the world. It is a natural disease, a virus as such, that has come and it is killing people. If you do not believe it, if you let yourself contract it, it will kill you. But why allow yourself to be killed by this disease when you can protect yourself? Why allow others around you to contract this virus when you and I can protect them? So, wear your masks, wash your hands. If you get any symptoms like a fever, which is coming with a cough, most likely a cough which is dry and persistent. In Africa, we know of the whooping cough. We know of people who cough constantly, almost like a dog. If you have or develop such type of a cough, especially also when it comes with shortness of breath, where you are trying to breathe and you feel as if something is stopping you from breathing, or that you are taking in breath and it is not enough, then you might have contracted COVID-19 and you need to seek immediate help. And the way to do it, get somebody to contact a medical personnel to let them know, or then get that person who might be a close family member to bring you to a health facility where you can be tested and given some treatment. By doing so, you are helping other people. You are helping not to spread it, and you are helping yourself and others to get the treatment. Is there treatment for COVID-19? Yes, there is treatment. I have looked after patients who've got well. But unfortunately, I have also looked after patients who've died of COVID-19. And if you catch it early, you will be treated. If you leave it till late, it might be too late for you to get to hospital. So, how do we go forward with this? 1, get your vaccination in place, get vaccinated. 2, if you are not able to be in a position to be vaccinated like those in Africa, wear your masks, clean your hands, keep social distancing, and do not throw parties where people come together and sing and shout, and where there are so many people in one place. I have observed that it is continuing to happen in places in Africa, and many people are contracting this disease or virus, and it might kill more people. We can sacrifice 1 year, few months of gatherings and get saved. We could sacrifice those parties, we could sacrifice those anniversaries, we could sacrifice the coming together, the bringing of people together for a short while and get this pandemic under control, and then return to our joyous, happy cultures. Of course, we are very conscious that COVID has come to destroy a lot of things, but of course, we can always go back to those things that COVID has stopped us from doing. It is better to postpone those ceremonies and those activities of culture and be safe than to have that fun now and contract this virus and be killed or have some respiratory defects from it. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching right now, I can see quite a few people there. Ronald, sorry, I can't read sight words, but hey, thank you so much for joining me today. Do like, share, and invite people to join. And if you're watching later, please also like, share, and get people, especially if you know somebody who hasn't had their vaccination, if you have or know somebody who does not believe that COVID-19 is real, if you know somebody who still is doubting and doesn't know what to do about vaccinations, send the link to them, share this with them so they can know that COVID-19 is real, that you can get treated from it if you catch it early, that you can have vaccinations and be protected from it. And the data really shows that when you get your first vaccination, you have greater chances of not getting the virus. Data also shows that if you get both of your vaccines, you are maybe about 85%. I need to look at my figures, but I don't have my papers in front of me here. But I remember it's about 85% chances of not having or not contracting the virus. So, well, you might say, what about the other percentage, 15 or so percent of people? Well, would you rather be in the 85% or in the 15%? So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being with me here today. I set out today to talk about something else, but because I went for my vaccination and got delayed terribly because of the queues, I decided to speak with you today about vaccinations. And here are the key things I wanted to talk to you about. The first thing was that COVID-19 is real, and you and I should get vaccinated when it comes to our time. Secondly, that you and I need to protect ourselves, to protect the nation, to protect our families, and therefore to protect the world. And thirdly, that for those people who are still sitting in the fence, believing that there is COVID-19, that they should jump on the side of those who actually have known and believe that COVID-19 is real. And finally, for those of you who are working in hospitals, those of you in the front line, you nurses, doctors, healthcare professionals in general, teachers, police officers, taxi drivers, bus drivers, and many of you who are right in the front line, my heart goes to you. Congratulations for the job you do. I am one of those who are in the front line, and I know how hard it is. Right now, as I teach, for example, student nurses, questions keep coming up about, is this the right thing to do? Is this the right time to come into nursing, for example? Is this the right time to be a healthcare professional? Is this the right time to be a teacher? Is this the right time to work in the frontline position? Yes, it is. And take it like your vocation. Think about how the world now reveres nurses and doctors and teachers and so on. Think about, well, the number of people who've died. May their souls rest in peace. Those who have been saved by you, frontline professionals. So, please, if you are one of them, congratulations. If you are not one of them and know somebody who is a nurse, a healthcare professional, doctor, all sorts of nurses, there are more than 20 types of nurses. I'm addressing this to all of you, not just adult nurses. We're talking also of mental health nurses and so on. I'm going to do a video sometime later or talk about mental health nurses and COVID-19, because there is something that is going on which we need to talk about. So if you know anybody who is in the front line, I'd like you today, after watching this, to send them a text message to say, congratulations for the job you do and thank you for working during this pandemic to save humankind. Did I say lastly? I think I could say one more thing before I go. Finally, because of the work that the frontline staff are doing, some of you or most of you know that I am a frontline worker. I work in emergency care, but I'm also a lecturer teaching nurses to become nurses. But I also run a property business, Frontline Wealth Solutions, and I am now dedicated to helping the frontline workers to buy one property. And the reason is this. I have seen colleagues who have lost their jobs as nurses because of COVID-19. I have seen and I know colleagues who have fallen ill and they are not able to go back to work because of COVID-19. Now, sitting at home, what do you do? How do you get out of this rut? How do you look after your children? How do you look after your family? If you're now not able to work because of COVID-19, what are you going to do? And I am offering what I can offer. And I'm asking other people who can offer other things to the frontline professionals to do the same. As a property investor, what I can offer you is to teach you how to buy your own house, how to buy a property, how to buy either one of your own residential properties or an investment property where you can earn a little bit of money from that property month after month. And as that property grows in value, you can also have some form of security for your pension. If you are one of those who don't have a job now, maybe you want to consider getting into property investment. I can help you. Maybe you are one of those who you want to continue to work 9 to 5 in your job, but just want to maybe reduce your hours to 7 hours a week. I can also help you to buy 1 or 2 properties that can give you monthly income so that you can reduce some days from your working days. That is my own service to frontline workers, to say thank you for the work you have done during this COVID-19 pandemic. It is here, it is still here, it is not going away. We might be in this for a long time. So I ask you as well, if you are a mechanic, what can you do for frontline professionals? If you are a tree surgeon, what can you do for frontline professionals? If you are a taxi driver, what can you do for frontline professionals? How can you offer your own skills, your own expertise, your own services to frontline professionals, to say thank them for the work they have done during this pandemic? I also know, I actually heard of, you might have heard it yourself, there were some very wonderful ladies who run B&B, Airbnb. When this pandemic started, they offered rooms free to to nurses and doctors who are looking after the patients in hospitals and not wanting to go back home. So can I say thank you if you are one of them, please? Can I say thank you profoundly? And that is what I'm talking about here, and asking each and every one of you to look around you. What do you do? What is your job? What are your services? Can you offer those services to frontline professionals and help them out in one way or the other? Do check at the bottom here later on to make sure that you join my Facebook group so that you and I can talk about investing in property and helping maybe people like frontline professionals to get into the property ladder to buy their own house or an investment property, or maybe you, if you're not one of them, just to help you as well do the same. Thank you for being with us today. Do like again, share, click and share and invite people to join. And once you have come into our property Facebook group, I invite you also to get people in. I'll see you again next Monday, 8 p.m. British Summer Time, GMT. And for those of you who are already receiving training from me to become property investors, I shall see you tomorrow, Wednesday, at 7 p.m. And for those who are starting their course next week, I shall see you on Thursday at 8 p.m. And for those of you who are wondering what I'm talking about, if you want to know more about these programs that I'm offering and helping people to buy properties, do first click at the bottom here later on to join our Facebook group. We talk about these things there, and you can learn how you can get involved in property by first belonging to that Facebook group and then making a choice of how you and I can help ourselves out. Have a great evening, have a great afternoon or morning, wherever you are, and I shall see you either next Monday, same time here, or maybe Wednesday or Thursday, depending on whether you are one of the people I'm helping to buy properties already or not. God bless you, and extend your hand to help the world. First, by having your vaccinations. Secondly, by wearing your masks, cleaning your hands, staying away from massive gatherings, and respecting what the governments are putting in place for us. And then, once we all respect this, we might all be saved. And one day, this pandemic will be over, and you and I, we will be out there dancing and singing and kissing and hugging and doing all those things that we feel COVID has taken away from us. Stay blessed. Bye-bye now.